If you look at the state of the nation at the moment, nobody will be happy to see Kenya in such a state where we look like we are completely rudderless. It's like there's no leadership. There's a serious leadership crisis. We don't know how those elders can call children to order. And this nation needs to be called to order. So many things going wrong that sometimes you don't even know which one to talk about. I'll go straight to the issues of, because I come from the Luo community. Let me apologize on behalf of the Luo community if at all there is something like that. That I don't think there's any deliberate attempt by the Luo community to attack anybody. And Fred Okango can say that whether you are in any community, any party or not. It is just that the incident took place in Kisumu, but we should not tribalize it. We should just criminalize it and let the people who did it to be put to book. And it should only be like that because I was in Kisumu. The place was not far from Uzima University, where my deputy vice chancellor. And I've talked to people. I do not think there's any problem between the Luos and the Luyas. It's never been there. Wao ni mashemeji, tumeoa kwao, tumeoa kwetu. Tuko na mipaka yao. So I don't think there's something to worry about the BAL. I only want to tell you and my brother there, Benji, continue preaching that there's no problem between it. Because if we allow the negative voices to be loud, they might look true, even if there's just very few. So let's all shout and say it. We are all together with all other leaders, and we are not having any animosity. We are just having political competition, but there's nothing else again. And of course, in the status of the nation about the issue of goons, we've addressed that. I'll go to straight to the issue of, if you like, the economy, the fuel issue. I'm sure I was analyzing this matter about the state of Hormuz, where there was a ceasefire, and I said the ceasefire will not last long because the fundamentals of that thing is still there. And I want to set the ball as an economist, and I've always analyzed this by saying that if people don't respond to what is happening between Iran and the US, there will be no fuel shortage. But people respond by having moral hazards, by someone hoarding fuel or someone doing things which are counter positive, because the world is balanced in such a way that if that problem is there, there could be other sources of oil. And I want to believe that there are. On the issue of the corruption at the CS, at the office of at the Ministry of Energy, it's very unfortunate that those people who came to government called a team of experts, they have eaten very poorly. Opio and I has eaten very, very poorly, like bad manners that you eat that people know you are eating. The rules for the game is that even if you eat, let people not know. But they have not only eaten, but eaten very poorly. And I think that shows very well that people should never tribalize corruption. Corruption is not to any tribe. Some of us were born being told that Luos do not get corrupt, but Kikuyus are the thieves in the country. But now we see that corruption is individual manners. Let us not tribalize it. And I want to echo what others are saying. This country belongs to all of us, and we shouldn't go there. But I want to say that, Debal, if I just offer a solution, I want to say the prosperity of a nation should be by institutional design, where wisdom governs and the wastage of stuff actually should decline. Where justice prevails, we find normally there must be confidence should rise in the country. And where trust deepens, then there should be some kind of enterprise expansion. Because I want to say that true wealth of the republic is not about the relying on treasury like the treasury of Kenya, but actually should rely in our institutions. So when you have weak institutions, you find the problem right there. Modern economics has rightly emphasized that a lot on physical capital, financial capital, and human capital. But Debal, as an economist, if you look at Douglas' theory, Douglas North, who is an economist, says that there is something called institutional capital. So Kenya lacks institutional capital. You go to the presidency, you go to the executive, you go to the parliament, you go to the judiciary. We are lacking institutional capital, and that's why you see there's bad manners everywhere. Institutional capital is that collective wisdom that comes in a society to be organized in terms of competence, where there's accountability, there's a bit of legality, and a bit of foresight. And these things are lacking. Because if there's institutional competence, there will be meritocracy in this country, there will be reliance on law, there will be transparent way of doing budgeting, there will be disciplined way of doing procurement, there will be a long-term planning to know where the country is going. there'll be some kind of dispute resolution. For example, when people are fighting, we should not fight with these bad manners. And we should actually be able to be governed by information which are accurate. Because here, people just get actually manipulated by innuendos, rumors, and the rest. So I want to end by saying that we need really to say that in this country, the BAL, even Professor Naituli, this country should not be led by another politician, for God's sake. Kenya needs a system that works, and where corruption should be the end, actually the end of their time, should just end. And where we don't want to have empty promises, where we should actually take what's called transparency, and we should actually start looking at how we can deepen the meaning of institutional infrastructure, which has got more, if you like, trust systems, transparency, to ensure that we can do allocation of resources that can be traced. We should be able to audit our systems. We should be able to actually do governance, which is good for the people. Because if you look at the Copernican revolution, I'm thinking we need to do in Kenya, if you look at the difference between Moscow and Kiev, Moscow believes that the state is at the center of the country. So you can even die if you try to play with the state. And that's why young people are being killed. That's why we are preserving state power at the expense of citizens. People still, and we can't. But Kiev believes that the individual is at the center. Copernican revolution was the thinking that we move away from geocentrism, where the earth is the center, to heliocentrism, where the sun is at the center. So we need to change. We need to have a revolution. A revolution is not about name change, swapping faces. No, it should be ideological difference that actually comes to govern our country. And I think for me, I want to talk about more of that than calling people names. I have my bishop, who is my spiritual counselor, who called me one day and told me, never ever go to public and say somebody's bad. Leave it to God. Because God should judge who is bad and who is good. For you can just say someone is either incompetent or corrupt, but you can't say that they're bad. So I also want to say that we are all Kenyans. There's no Kenyan who is bad. God brought all of us here, but let us focus on what can transform this country. I know some of you, when Fred Ogolla speaks, oh, he's an outsider, whatever it is, but I can tell you, we can disrupt this country if we accept, if we agree, if we come out of our cocoons, and we can make it happen. So for me, I'm breathing fresh air, Debal and Benji, and my fellow panelists and all Kenyans listening, that we can actually do it. I can see now I have a governor in Nyandarua, someone vying from governor. There's Dr. Karagu from Canada, is vying for Nyandarua there. I've got a governor in Kisumu now, I have a governor in Mombasa, I have MP, MCS, and they are following the LDP call to technocrats who are able to develop a country based on ideology, based on economic prototype, not people who are doing propaganda. So I believe more on economic liberation, the third liberation for this country. And I do not want to be wished away that the politics of this country and Goonism will take precedence over the politics of economic liberation. Debal, over and out.
Thank you. Well articulated, Prof. Really do appreciate. Even as you mentioned that we should rise above the parakeets when it comes to, personality politics that now we've really ventured into, that is getting a bit murkier by the day. And we need also to call maybe the politicians to order, because our children are watching and they're setting the bar way too low. If that is a sort of a modicum and a pinch of the space of politics that we are in, it is very, very discouraging to watch, and it's painful, even to listen to some of these statements that are tripping off their tongue.